So why would we ever say that sharing isn't helpful? So as kids in child development, of course, we ultimately want them to share. Humans are innately wired to share and to give and to socially engage. So if we are not, there's something else going on. So developmentally, kids go through a very centrist era where they are totally designed for sustained attention and flow and to really be engaged with an object or an experience at the time. So if they're playing with something and they're fully invested and they've got all of the brain lit up and they're super motivated and really, really taking in every single aspect of that toy, and some other child comes up and wants to use it, then it can feel really threatening to them in the moment or startling to them in the moment because they were just pulled out of this beautiful flow state that they're designed to do developmentally in order to learn. So it is a gift that they are in this era. And if an adult comes by and says that they need to share and we force them to do this, then it really pulls them out of this state. And it also probably creates a lot of inner resentment because they were still using it and their feelings of their wants and needs in the moment weren't seen by their caregiver. So they don't have the sense of it. So what we can do is help them to see that they can stick it out with shared social problem solving in a way that would benefit their capacity to share down the road, as well as benefit all of their capacity for emotional regulation moment to moment in this situation and beyond. So what to do instead is to help kids develop shared social problem solving and the emotional regulation capacity first and foremost to stick with that. So if kids feel competent in saying, nope, I'm using this, you can use it in a couple minutes. Of course, that probably isn't what's happening because developmentally, there's also a stage where grabbing and taking and saying mine is really, really developmentally appropriate. So if the child is okay with the other child grabbing the toy and saying mine and running away with it, then do we need to really create a problem where there isn't an issue? I'm not sure. It depends. So it depends on how the child feels about that. If they just give it up and they're on to the next thing and it's not a big deal to them, that's fine. But if they seem like they're upset or they really were using it and they're challenged by that, then we want to help them engage. So sportscasting is a technique that we can do instead to help the child identify if this is important to them or not. So you might say, oh, you were using that toy. You were having so much fun. You were figuring out those blocks and putting them on top of each other. And you made a tower with 5 blocks. And then Johnny came over and took them. And you were not happy about it. So that would probably be a lot of language for depending on the age. But the idea is that you're pointing out that Johnny also probably thought it was really cool and he wanted to use the blocks. So we can point out each child's perspective without kind of taking sides, if you will, or creating a competition. We are just seeing each child in the moment, which helps their capacity for regulation and helps their capacity to sustain sensations in the body that can feel really tricky for them and really big for them and create things like reactivity or impulsivity. So that's where we may see hitting or kicking or biting or yelling, which some of that, again, is developmentally appropriate, but we can help to shape it through this process of emphasizing what each child wants or needs in the moment and advocating for that versus advocating for the outcome of who gets the toy. So the idea is that it's all about the process. It always depends. So this is, again, a really general guideline of what to do and how to shift that and how to support them in the moment. And it is always changing moment to moment. So it's our responsibility as adults to adapt and to watch each child's cues and think about what they want and need in the moment and question our own projections on, another child taking a toy. If it's not a big deal to them, then why is it a big deal to us? Is it our own stuff showing up in, having things taken from us or being threatened by somebody's actions? And are we projecting that? So always checking ourselves first. But that is a quick tip on where to start with sharing or not sharing, and how to switch to a possible, turn-taking method or something like that. But really the idea is sticking it out with the process, not focusing on the outcome, staying in it in relationship because relationships are more important than the outcome almost always in interactions. So good luck with this and let me know how it goes.